Welcome to Daily English Room. Today's topic is social media. How often do you use social media, and which platforms do you prefer?
In the restaurant industry, Instagram is king. I'm on it several times a day, posting pictures of my dishes and getting inspiration from other chefs worldwide. I also use TikTok to share quick cooking tips and tricks. As a chef, visual platforms are perfect for showcasing my work and connecting with food lovers everywhere.
When did you start using social media?
Let me think. I believe it was in 2010, when I was already working as a junior chef. A colleague convinced me to join Facebook, saying it would be good for networking. Little did I know that social media would become so crucial in the culinary world. At first, I barely used it. I might post once a month, if at all. However, by 2015, not only was I actively sharing my dishes on Instagram, but I'd also started building a following. Having said that, I sometimes wonder how different my career would be had I started earlier.
What kind of people do you like to be friends with on those social media websites?
In my line of work, networking is crucial, so I tend to connect with other chefs, food critics, and culinary enthusiasts. Mind you, I'm not just interested in professional contacts. I particularly enjoy following home cooks who experiment with Brazilian cuisine. If I limited myself to professional chefs, I could miss out on some truly creative recipe adaptations. That being said, I do have one rule. I only connect with people who are passionate about food. There's nothing better than scrolling through a feed full of mouth-watering dishes.
Is there anything you don't like about social media?
In the culinary world, social media has created somewhat unrealistic expectations. You know how it is. Every dish has to be Instagram-worthy, doesn't it? Had this pressure not existed, I believe we'd see more focus on taste and less on appearance. What particularly irritates me is the way social media has shortened people's attention spans. These days, rather than appreciating the dining experience, many customers seem more concerned about capturing the perfect photo of their meal. That being said, what I find most problematic is how social media can spread misinformation about food and nutrition. Some of the viral cooking hacks I've seen are not just impractical, but potentially dangerous.
Do you think social media has more positive or negative effects on society?
In my opinion, it's mostly positive, especially for small businesses like restaurants. Social media has democratized marketing. You don't need a huge budget to reach customers anymore. But I've seen colleagues become obsessed with getting the perfect food photo instead of focusing on taste. There's also the issue of unrealistic expectations. Not every dish can look Instagram-worthy, and that's okay.
How do you think social media will evolve in the next 5 years?
In the culinary world, I think we'll see even more integration of augmented reality. Imagine being able to virtually smell or taste dishes shared on social media. But seriously, I believe social media will become more niche-focused. Instead of giant platforms trying to be everything for everyone, we might see more specialized communities. For chefs like me, this could mean better ways to connect directly with food enthusiasts and potential customers.
How has social media changed the way you communicate with people from different cultures?
Food is universal, but how we talk about it isn't. Social media has taught me to explain Brazilian cuisine in ways that make sense to people from different cultures. I've learned to provide context for ingredients that might be unfamiliar to others. It's also fascinating to see how different cultures react to the same dish. What's comfort food in Brazil might be exotic and exciting to someone in Japan.
What's the most surprising opportunity you've gotten through social media?
An Instagram reel of me making feijoada went viral and caught the attention of a TV producer. Next thing I knew, I was featuring in a documentary about traditional Brazilian cooking. The really surprising part? The documentary was for a Japanese TV channel. Now I have fans in Japan who want to learn about Brazilian cuisine, Definitely wasn't expecting that when I posted the video.
How do you manage your time on social media to stay productive?
In the restaurant industry, timing is everything. I usually post during slower periods, like between lunch and dinner service. I batch create content on my days off, taking photos of multiple dishes at once and scheduling posts for the week. I've also trained one of my sous chefs to help manage our restaurant's social media, which shares the workload.
What advice would you give to someone just starting to use social media professionally?
Focus on quality over quantity. When I started sharing my culinary journey, I wasn't posting every day, but I made sure each post was meaningful. Show your process, not just the final result. People love seeing the story behind the dish. And don't get discouraged by numbers. Build genuine connections with your audience, even if it's small. Those genuine fans will become your best advocates.
Have you ever taken a break from social media? How did it affect your personal and professional life?
Last year, I took a break during a culinary retreat in the Amazon, where we had limited internet access. It was both liberating and anxiety-inducing. I worried about losing followers, but actually, people were very interested in my comeback posts about the experience.
The break gave me fresh inspiration and helped me realize that constant posting isn't necessary. Quality content is more important than quantity.
If you could change one thing about how social media works, what would it be and why?
Should I have the power to change social media, I would focus on authenticity. You see, in the culinary world, we've become obsessed with appearance rather than taste. Had there been less pressure to create picture-perfect dishes, chefs might feel more inclined to showcase realistic, everyday cooking. Not only would this be more helpful for home cooks, but it would also take an enormous amount of pressure off professionals like myself.
What impact do you think social media will have on future generations, particularly in your field of work?
Nevertheless, we must ensure that children develop critical thinking skills. Were they to rely solely on social media for information, they might miss out on deeper, more meaningful learning experiences.
How has your approach to privacy on social media evolved over time?
In the restaurant business, there's a fine line between sharing and oversharing, isn't there? While I need to promote my work, I've learned to be more selective about what I post. Rather than showing every aspect of my kitchen, I now focus on the dishes themselves. If I had known more when I started, I would have been more careful about sharing my techniques. Some of them were family secrets passed down for generations.
At what age are children generally allowed to use social media in your country?
You know, in Brazil, the minimum age is technically 13, but it's not as simple as that. Had you asked me a few years ago, I would have said that nobody really paid attention to age restrictions. However, things have been changing lately. Not only are parents becoming more aware of digital safety, but schools are also getting involved in educating children about responsible social media use. Mind you, my 12-year-old nephew probably knows more about Instagram than I do.
That's all for today's daily English room conversation practice. Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this video, like, leave a comment, and hit the subscribe button. See you next time.